Hi everyone. Yep, it's Dale Pendragon. I've got a little unboxing to do because I still need to make a part because of my particular use for this. But I'd like to introduce you to the Mintion air filtration system. Now they already have, a part here that is intended for one of the modern on-market 3D printers. I'm going to use it on my enclosure because that's where I predominantly do ABS. It currently has Bumblebee back there in the background. His internal lighting complements of purchases I made from Vector 3D. If you want to get yourself some NeoPixel matchsticks, so matchstick Neo, which is your RGBs, or the Daybreak, obviously, or Daylight, sorry, which is the all white, then he's definitely got just what you need. Right now, I think the majority of the ones I also saw on clearance that he has right now are the micron size, or just slightly bigger than the matchstick ones. So really intended for the micron, but obviously I'm going to be using it on a 0.2, and they actually fit. So we've got a cover plate here, which I can presume will be on the back of said commercial printer. Here's our little power supply, obviously with its 9 to 24 volt running. So it even sounds like this is something, I've got a laptop adapter that can do these voltages and even has one of these plugs. So even if you had an accident or something happened and it blew it, there's your ratings: 9 to 24 volt, 1 amp, very simple. You could even replace it in a pinch if you had it go out. Now, like I said, this looks like a flat door. That obviously means that while it's not doing its thing, you can put this probably on the inside, I'm guessing. Look at this. Yeah. There is a book here, but I'm going to go through that with you in a moment. Yes, here we go. This is the Mintion 3D printer filtration system, V1, version 1. We have a quick guide here. Obviously, if you want to see some of their details, you also go to mintion.net and have a look at the product. So, continuing the unboxing here. Okay, this is our Hepa filter. So let's put that down here. And let's just carefully, oh, that's actually a spare. Okay, because I can see down into it. These are spare cartridges. Okay, and this is a active carbon filter. So basically, yeah, that's got active carbon pellets. So that's very similar to what you find in the Nevermore, for example. They use it for scrubbing VOCs, such as formaldehyde or CO2, half a dozen others. Oh, there's 2 Hepas. All right. Okay, very nice. What's this? There's something else way down in here. Let me see what it is. There we go. Okay, what are we? Oh, it's a little toolkit. All right, so we have a little toolkit here. And by the way, yes, if you hear something running in the background, Frank is doing a print. Friend of mine wanted some items printed, and I was more than happy to help him out. So apologies for the noise, but 3 days worth of printing to do. I need to do it while I can, and with the new Cyclone fan, I can't get away with it overnight anymore. I might have to really hurry up and do the tool changer. Anyway, so we have a basic toolkit here, some extra screws for mounting. So that I'm guessing these 2 black ones are for that flap, and these 4 are for this. Okay, so let's go ahead and pull this bad boy out. It is not very big. This is very pleasing because I don't have a lot of room. This is one of the reasons all the way up to now I've been getting away with cheating. I have, to give you an idea what this is going to replace, and it's going to probably do 200 times better of a job I have a DIY from VOCs-I air filter. Has just basically a dust screen here, but down in this section it has active carbon. Yeah, so active carbon foam in this particular case, so it also gives it a little bit of extra dust filtration, but that just barely handles VOCs. It doesn't do anything for small particle matter contaminants. I've also got these. Some of you who have resin printers are probably familiar with these. They're battery powered. You can also plug them in. I even made printed parts where you could fill them with active carbon pellets as a refill in a pinch, and it comes with 2 carbon ones. But this is really more for a resin printer, but I had to run both of these and the other thing just to keep the fumes at bay, and I would let it run with that down. Obviously I have a thing here, I don't know if you can see it, there it is. That's a flap cover that comes down and obviously seals off that chamber enough that the filtration system can deal with it before it can get out into the room. So yeah, definitely going to make a massive difference, and I'm probably going to put this where it takes in from the front. So let's just carefully take off that. There we go. Very nice. Okay, there we go. So that's our filtration system. Has a sticker on there, version 1. Filtration, pre-filter cotton, Hepa 13. So one of these is a Hepa 13 and the other's cotton. I'm going to see if I can figure out that. Okay, that's something I probably would feed back to them, maybe for making sure that things are marked, but there we go. Activated carbon and 24-volt DC supply. So this is your flexi tube. I can see it's also insulated, so if you have high temperature enclosure, it's not going to melt this when you go to evacuate everything. And this will be going up basically like about here, because that's just about reaching the top of this enclosure. Yeah. So I still need to make a piece that'll bolt onto that insulated material that I used. So on the back here we have a little door thing here. There we go. And very straightforward from the look of it. Just clips in. These look printed parts. But so what do we got here? Let's see. Okay, so there's a filter, and then it has a spacer. Let's see here. There we go. So you can see it. So we got filter and a spacer under it. Then another filter, and I can see what they've done here. Obviously it is like so. Yeah, that's it. That's what it is. So there we go. Yeah, definitely printed parts. So these might be something that even in a pinch you can maybe find a source for. But there we are. There we go. So, oh, and I can see there's like a color coding to these tags. Right, okay. Right, okay, so let's put that back like that. And then third one is, there we go. Let's see if I can get that out. Ooh, it's a bit stuck. Let me see here. There's something down here on the bottom holding it, maybe? Possibly? Yeah, looks like it. So, yeah, because that's the bottom catch for that. I'm trying not to be forceful with it because I don't want to break it. Let me put this down. Right, okay, there we are. Now, oh yeah, I can see also that the front pad has detached slightly from that one. So I'm going to guess that was either during assembly or that's just how it is. I don't know for sure. Now that is definitely being a challenge to pull that out. Definitely going to have a word with them about that. There we go. Come on. Now where's the back end of it? Well, this is why I tell companies, if it's going to go wrong, then it's going to go wrong. And I'm not going to edit things because this is something that could have happened to anybody. There we go. That's it. Right. There we go. That's it. Let's see if we can get that out. Okay, I see what's happened. Yep. That has obviously come loose. I'm going to guess that there was, I'm going to guess there was a bit of warmth and it obviously let it loose. So that's something that they might want to look at in that regard. Yeah, and this has got like a mesh, and obviously from there the actual thing. So yep, I'm just gonna obviously, yeah, I can see what happened. The bottom of that has obviously stuck when trying to pull it out, and it grabbed it and prevented it from coming off nice and easy. So that's obviously one of those where they'll want to look at that for sure. That looks like a piece of carbon that tried to make its way out. There we go, got it back through the mesh. So yeah, there's our three components. So I can see where they're going white, gray, dark. So that goes on top of that one. Let's just bring this back over here. Yeah, don't mind the mess. But yeah, so carbon filter, Hepa filter, and then pre-filter cotton. And we can see down inside of here, there's a centrifugal fan. Let's see if I can get some light on that. There we go. So we've got a centrifugal fan, blower fan there. Literally pulls air down through it, blows it out the bottom. Yeah? Very clever. Very simple, very clever. Now, there is my cyclone going off. Okay. So yeah, this is probably not going to get run in actual today. Surely because I need to load this ASA once it's dry. There we go. Yeah, I can see that needs definitely dealing with. That definitely should not have been like that. But there we are. Like I said before, if it's going to happen, it's going to happen. And if it does it on the video, well, that's where it's going to stay. So, we've got our, that's better, there we go. That's got our filter back in for active carbon. And now we slide our little Hepa back in there. That's why. Okay. So it's still just being a little bit awkward there, that top one. What I might do is just get that little glue laid, before I fully put it into operation, just so it stays easy going long term. That's better. Now we're in there. And then finally, last one here. That's it. Up, up, up. Done, done, done. And actually, I just want that tab down where I can see it. Right. Yeah, that cyclone does make some noise, doesn't it? And that's just on a low setting. You don't use a lot with that one. There we go. That's it. I think they're probably going to revise that over time, I'm going to guess. But there's our little thing. So let's see what we got in the manual. Let's just get that back down where we can see what we're doing with the video. Okay, so, yeah, plenty of active carbon dust. Right, so how to use it. There's a QR code, probably take you to their thing. Obviously, the device is designed to improve air quality during FDM 3D printing process by filtering ultrafine particles and volatile organic compounds. The system combines a Hepa 13 filter for particulate removal and with an active carbon for VOC absorption, helping create a safer, cleaner printing environment. Is this 100%? Well, we shall see, but this is not laboratory equipment, so keep that in mind. So here's our basics. I was right on the details of these from the look. So this is on the back of most likely an X1 carbon, it looks like, or a Creality maybe. I have to look that one up. But there, you know, that's your spot for removal, and then they have a little flap here. Let's just say, yep, I was right. Little panel, which means that maybe at some point I can run this at the back of it, have it come over to the side, and then put the little flap on the front for that. Okay, so how to operate. Basically, plug it in, turn it on. The filter interface and waste outlet cover. Okay, so waste outlet cover, and then obviously the interface. So for high temperature materials, ABS, ASA, nylon, PETG. PETG I wouldn't call a super high temperature, but PC, polycarbonate. At the start of printing, it is recommended to set the power on the dial no higher than 20%. This helps maintain the chamber temperature. After printing is completed, then you can turn the dial up to 100% for about 10 minutes just to clear everything out. Yeah? So with that in mind, yep, different brands have different characteristics, enabling effect while printing, They are right about if you run this during a print and it's pulling air across your printer, well, yeah, you're liable to lose all your heat. You're going to have warping and various other problems. For more common materials like PLA or TPU, which does actually give off particulate matter, not necessarily heavy on the VOCs, but there we are. Should be set below 50%, and then after so 100%. And you can also apparently you can control this somewhat from your slicer, and there's some details about that obviously for the bamboo, so I'm gonna go past that. If you want to see this, you can obviously go to the website. Looks like I got those out of order. Okay. And they have a maintenance and thing, so every 3 months, depending on the amount of usage, your pre-filter cotton, which is the gray one. Hepa filter, 3 months, depending on usage. Active carbon, 3 months, or when odors persist. In other words, anybody who's printed ABS knows that smell. And it's very, very pungent. It smells like, you know, the best way I can describe it is burnt electrics. Anybody who's ever had, you know, something electronic catch on fire, they know the smell. It smells almost identical. It's a very acrid, very strong smell. You definitely do not want to be breathing that. And this is where these things come in. This is why even I have gone to great lengths, because of the size of my office, to limit the amount of that kind of fumes. And I've even gone to the extent of, with the enclosure, obviously it helps keep it trapped in, but it doesn't eliminate it from getting into the office. Yeah. So I would even ventilate the room using like a Dyson style fan that I have. You know, in the hallway, I'd open the door, you know, and just let it totally aerate and put loads of air going into the room very quickly. Right, okay, so we'll just give this a little test run, and I think I can safely say that, yes, I do vape. So anybody who's got kids watching this, have them turn away. We don't want to teach them smoking. Now, something you'll notice, as soon as I brought it in here after starting to, you know, my vape, this is one of the other reasons I want to quit. That just massively jumped up in particles, and obviously HCHO. Hey, guess what? That's formaldehyde. Yes, vape juice does actually make that. Watch. Now, it takes a second or so to pick it up, but you can see it already starting to jump on the CO2. There's 2.5 particles, 1.0 particles. This one actually reads 0.3s, and it's already up in the highs. Yeah, air quality not nice. Yes, I know. I'm creating it. Okay, so that was more for the reality of particles. This meter is something I found on Amazon. It wasn't cheap. It was about 40 quid. But it's the only one I've seen like them that would pick up those smallest particles. Okay, so we've got that now plugged into there. So our power supply is live, but it's not turned on yet. Let's go ahead and plug her in. And let's give her... Hey, it's actually pretty quiet, surprisingly. Plenty of air coming out the side here. Yep. Let's get a little idea. Okay, so it doesn't force a lot of air there, and I can feel a reasonable amount of air coming out, but it's definitely got a little bit of pull in. It's almost like that thing, the fan show, or fan showdown. But yeah. So it definitely draws in the particles that are being created just by my e-cigarette. And you can kind of see it swirling downward. Okay, so that is a basic functional test, but it definitely is going to be the tried when I load that ASA once it's dry, and I'll be able to let the chamber in there heat up and start printing with the top open. This way I can get a proper gauging, obviously, with my thing in it. That's going down a little bit finally, but obviously it's definitely, let me just do like that, see how it does. Because that'll pull a lot of air across the sensors, actually. That's probably pulling it right, literally through it. So let's try it here. What's coming out? A little bit of stuff, but not too bad. Still keeping it in the clean. As you can see, my humidity in this room is unreal, but it has helped already bringing the formaldehyde fumes obviously down. So going to give it the next test, obviously, once I have this dry. That's going to take about 8 hours. I thought I was going to get this a bit further on today, but things came up. So that's what I'll show today. And then I'll go back through with some real-world testing, because I have some prints to do with some ASA, and they desperately need doing. So thank you for watching. If you're very interested in how it goes, just turn on the notifications or subscribe or whatever you'd like to do. Just check back often, whatever tickles your fancy. And I'll show how well this filtration system does. That looks like it's in a much better condition, that one. So I may even change that at some point, but yeah. There we go. That is the Mintion version 1 air filtration system. And we shall see how it does going forward. Thank you for watching.